And we are we're live. Right on. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Wolf. Welcome to not Dom's Market Flow, but something similar-esque. Definitely, you guys can drop any questions or thoughts you guys have in the chat. We're going to talk about a little bit what's going on in the market, some sentiment things, as well as what we think about this crypto strategic reserve, this crypto summit that's coming up on Friday. In the last 10 minutes or so, I've been seeing a lot of tweets from everyone, all our news accounts who are copying each other, about Michael Saylor being invited, potentially confirmed to be speaking or going. I'm not sure exactly what kind of style of a summit this is. I don't know if there's a bunch of people giving keynotes or if this is like a round table. I don't know if it's nothing of the sort. I have no idea what to expect with it. But yeah, a lot of things going on in there. Obviously, the government has kind of, as a side note, mentioned Bitcoin and Ethereum after, of course, tweeting about the important assets like Solana, Cardano, and XRP, which is pretty crazy to me to see that as a side tweet. He goes, by the way, I like Ethereum and Bitcoin too, kind of. And I was like, okay, wow, that's crazy. So that happened, which was really interesting. And yeah, man, just a lot of thoughts around the board. Glad we have Dom up here in the house. I just brought up his chart. Mr. Dom, sir, we jumped on Spaces a couple hours ago, but how's it going on your end?
It's going good, man. Definitely crazy last few days, honestly. I don't think any of us could have expected the volatility we've seen. It feels like we're trading in the trenches here with these 30% pumps, 25% dumps. But yeah, man, you made some great points there. I think that there's a lot of questions about this crypto strategic reserve, and I don't think enough questions are being asked, to be honest, because, if you asked me years ago, I said it a few times, if you asked me years ago or told me that the president would be tweeting tickers or posting tickers, especially something that's not even Bitcoin, I would have called you crazy. And the fact that we had that happen on a 10 a.m. Eastern time on a Sunday, market reacts to doing, 20 to 60% pumps. That's just something that, is really questionable in many, many areas. So, I'd love to chat more about it and just share some thoughts. I think that this week's going to be very pivotal. And I think that the charts are reflecting that as well. We've been talking about how there's all of this good news, but the markets really didn't care. And, that tells you that gives you a sign of the environment that we're in and the environment we were in before we broke 90K. In similar concept here, we could point this off to tariffs. If we take a look here at the NASDAQ, we pull up the NASDAQ here, this is a pretty decent sell-off. We haven't seen a sell-off this strong since August. And I'm sure you guys remember what happened in August. Let's throw up Bitcoin on top. That's when Bitcoin threw its 49K wick in there. That was a pretty crazy pullback. So, percentage-wise, this is the NASDAQ percentage. I think that this was like a 25% pullback right here. I think this was like 68K to 49. Right, it's about the same right now. And of course, that was the bottom before the market moved up much higher. But, overall, just for the market to put in that crazy wick, on the daily chart, we can look at this crazy wick on both directions. This is why I think this week's going to be pivotal. And I think what they say on Friday, if they have a clear path forward for this reserve and they'll be purchasing these coins, and it's not like a, it's not a point where it's like still up for question. And to be honest, everything Trump has done, he's had a plan for it. He hasn't just really said many things and not had any plan. He has followed through with a lot of the things he said. So that does make me think they have some type of strategic plan, whether it, involves the Treasury. I would have to believe this is going to involve the Treasury Department in some way or another. But either way, I think if they come out and they basically say, we're stockpiling these assets, we'll be using our seized Bitcoin as the base of the reserve, and the market reaction is going to be really, really telling, like very, very telling. And I'm kind of happy that we're getting to this point because, in my honest opinion, if this happens on Friday and the market doesn't react in a positive way with strength that could hold itself, not just a little pump that retraces the entire thing, the next day, we might be in good shape. Of course, we still have a lot of levels to regain on Bitcoin. Bitcoin needs to get back above like 97 to really confirm anything, but that'd be a good shape. And then on the flip side, if the market doesn't care, I think we're really in for a little grim month, 2-3 months. And I think I would have to believe Bitcoin's going to low 70s. Altcoins already shredded. I think Ethereum would probably be down to 1,500. So yeah, I really think that this week's going to be very pivotal.
Yeah. I'm curious as well what you think about. So we've been talking about this for a while. My thesis pretty much has not changed. I've been heavy cash for a long time now. I briefly re-entered Bitcoin purely out of FOMO and worried that I was watching too many Bitcoin maxi spaces, and there was too many of the we'll never go under 6 figures again. And I was like, well, just in case, let me throw 20% of my entire net worth into Bitcoin real quick. And then I came to my senses and was like, dude, we are going straight down. It feels like. Now, you're right. We could go one of two ways. My thesis is still we touched the 70s, but I have started my DCA. This is more for my long-term bag. It's not really for trading at all. My long-term bag, I do think I'm going to get some pretty big orders in the 70s. I think it was Calvin who said he's going to enter a irresponsible long if we ever touch 75K or something in that region for Bitcoin, I believe. And Calvin is certainly someone worth listening to. He's got a lot of experience in the markets, and that dude has made more money probably per week than I have and may make in my entire life. So he's killing it. I know that for a fact. And anyways, there was something you had said prior. I'm trying to remember what it was. In regards to some of these coins and maybe more Bitcoin specifically, a lot of people have said, and this is a while ago now, that really this conversation has been cracked open just because Bitcoin's been so up for so long. But now we're coming to a point where people are looking at these previous levels of the 60s and 70K Bitcoins. And now my question is like, well, how low, if we were to play it out and go down the route of this doesn't go well and we keep trending down for a little while, is there ever a scenario where Bitcoin could come close to those ETF levels, which was around, I don't know, 40K-ish, right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's a really good question, actually. I'd love to cover that. I'm not sure. I'm sure some of you guys watching saw my post about the bull market ban. I think it was Benjamin Cohen. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Cohen. I think he shares some great stuff, and he's been pretty accurate about a lot as well. But he shared this thing of this EMA ban, and it was like running through Bitcoin right here. Let me see if I get the drawing tool. It was like running through Bitcoin right here, and he's like, and it came up here, and he's like, oh, we're on our bull market ban, and I'm like, bull market ban isn't something you spend weeks under. So it made me go look at the chart, and can you hear me fine, Kid?
Yep, it cut out for half a second, but you're back.
Kid, all good now?
Yep.
Okay, cool. But yeah, what I was saying is, I was like, let me go look and see what an actual bull market band is. You want a bull market band that price never goes under the bull market. And then once it goes under, that's the bear market. To me, that's what a bull market band is. That's not something that we spend a few days or weeks under and we call that a bull market band. So, basically I went there and I did a little bit of back testing and a little bit of research. And my consensus was the 12-month rolling VWAP. So this is the volume weighted average price of the 12-month trailing every day. So every day that goes by, we look back 12 months, and that's basically the value on the chart. So if we look back, even since the 2013 bull run or 2012, see how prices held that all the way right when they lost this green level. We went into a little bear. Same concept, regain, bull market. Held it the entire way up. Right when we broke it, bear market. We dropped, what was it, 75%, 60%, 70%. It was about a year. Same concept here. Right when we broke this, guess what? That's a bull market. Bull market helped this up all the way, perfectly carried us the entire way up. And then 2018 comes around, we lose it right here. That's a bear market. Right when we retest it, also the confirmation of a bear market. So we even go much lower. From this point, Bitcoin drops, 65%, 60%. Same concept. We break it right here, mini bull market. In my opinion, if COVID never happened, this chart probably would have just looked something like this. So technically speaking, we could say that held the bull market band. And then once again, 2021, Look at how perfect that was, the green line. Perfectly held it here on that bounce when we push back to all-time high. And then sure enough, right when we lost it right there, broke it, retested it as resistance. The same thing we did right here. You see how perfect that is? I love when we see the confluence like that. Hold it, retest it as resistance. Same thing here. Hold it, retest it as resistance. And that's obviously the bear market. So, we pull back 65%. Same concept once again. We regain this level right here about the $23,000 mark. This is obviously the bull market. And look, since we have not dropped below that green level, which is the 12-month rolling VWAP. And also that coincides pretty well with it, but I like the volume weighted average price a little bit more, is the 50-week moving average. So that's the orange right there. I'll take it off just for cleaner purposes. But yeah, so essentially, we look at this now and we say, okay, where's Bitcoin at? Well, it's still above that bull market band. And we could see right here when we had that 49K sell-off, it held it perfectly. So in my honest opinion, we can't call this a bear market yet. As Bits was saying on the space, you technically can come down to 49K and still have a higher low. And then, it's like, are you going to wait till then to call a trend change? No, no, you're not going to wait till then. So in my honest opinion, 75K around that level, that's really the line in the sand for us right now. And the reason why as well is because, we could draw a level right here of the previous high in March. And if we came down and tested this bull market band, look what's going to happen. We're going to retest that previous cycle high, or at least that's that previous yearly high. So there's a lot of confluence here for Bitcoin to be completely fine if it comes down to 75K. We might even see a quick wick below, the weekly still will close above. That's completely fine. But the problem here is that if we accept below that, and I'll use this here as a good example, these volume profiles here kind of show us where, value areas are. And I like to use these a lot. I'm sure you've seen me use these. When you have a lot of the volume nodes here, we could see the volume nodes are super strong. And then you can see when they taper off to a very low volume, right? Similar concept here. We can see these high volume nodes up here. And then you could see right when they taper off to air. And that's also why in my past few streams, I talked about how if we lost 85K, we were going to fill this void down to the 70s. And that played out perfectly. We could see that wick got filled perfectly. So the point I'm trying to make here is Bitcoin can come down to 75K and it's in its bull market band. And the reason I'm putting a lot of weight on this is because it hasn't failed us. I just went back to every single cycle, and this isn't just some arbitrary line. The volume weighted average price of the last year is a very important level in my opinion. So 75K, completely fine. But if we lose this level, what's going to happen here is we're going to accept back into our previous value area that we spent 7 months consolidating into. And to me, that's not something you do in a bull market. You don't want to accept into previously established value. So yeah, that's really my just very simple view on what's going on here. We have a lot of noise in this range, but unless it's under 75K, not much is changing structurally. Not much is changing structurally. So, and then you could even see what happens here. We have this previous high. And then look, we retested that previous high. So it's not even abnormal if Bitcoin wants to come back down here. So yeah, I don't know if you had any questions on that. I'm not sure what some of these comments are saying here. You're all going to go broke.
Yeah, Mike definitely bought at 106.
The content cherry picking is hilarious. Well, Chintzy, I'd love to see what I'm cherry picking here. I'd love to love to elaborate on that. If you guys want to join and just spread hate, feel free to do that, but it's probably not of the best interest for your own bags.
Yeah, I was going to say, one thing that's probably helpful, and honestly, it's probably the roots of these kind of comments, partially is just purely because they bought too high. That's honestly but probably what happened. But I feel like the standards are so, if these people are on crypto Twitter or YouTube crypto, where it's not people like Dom and Benjamin Cohen, who, if you guys watch any of their content, it's none of this Moon Boy stuff. if you're used to the typical crypto content where they've just been wrong over and over again, calling for altcoin season for the last 6 months, I can see why you'd be leaving comments like this because you're sitting here going, another person saying all these things. But the kind of the reason we do these streams is because like it allows you to see like an inside look on the data and an inside look into these charts broader than just looking at Coinbase or CoinMarketCap and saying, oh man, my spot bags are down. You know, like Dom is right now he's a trader. He's in and out of the markets and he's playing these levels. He's doing well. A lot of our traders in the space are doing well, actually, you know, trading these markets. If you're just someone who's buying spot and your average is at 106, then yeah, there's not much to say for someone like you, you know, unless you're going to jump into the trading side of things, or if you want to like lower your entry position or de-risk or something like that. There's just not much here. And we said it on the streams before. There's not much for the people who are just casually trading anymore or casually spot buying at tops. It's just, there's nothing we can do for those people. Like, unless you want to commit to getting better at trading or learning, yeah, there's just not much for you here right now. And I could see why, you know, there's just negative sentiment across the board.
Of course. Yeah. You just nailed it on the dot there, Cade. You know, we've talked about this for 2 months now about how altcoins, we're in a different environment. We can't expect a full-blown alt season. And, you know, that's why I showed all the pairings I have of every altcoin in the top 150 against the market. And I'm like, most of these coins aren't doing anything. So, you know, I see these comments as well. And, you know, what I love to say about those is none of them trade. You know, if you're a good trader and you know what you're doing in the space, you're not spending time saying stupid stuff in streams to people that are providing real content. And, you know, especially ones that have actually warned about the altcoin decimation for months. Yeah. So you're absolutely right there. But yeah, onto the point, you know, I really can't cherry pick a better view of what we're looking at. It's like this line, this green line here has been like the magic line for all of our bull runs, you know, and that's kind of why it's like 75K. It's not off the board at all. Anything under 75K, it's going to be very hard to point a short-term and midterm bullish picture. That's really the most simple way that we can put it. And of course, this has happened with, you know, the stock market going sideways for months. This has happened with the dollar stronger than when the bull market started. This has also happened with the Russell 2000. If you look at the RTY here, you know, the Russell 2000, we've talked about this a few times, even posted some clips on this. You know, the Russell 2000, it hasn't entered price discovery yet. So if we put up the altcoin market here, we compare it to the Russell 2000, this kind of gives a gauge of just the overall, you know, economic environment we are in. We can see when altcoins in 2016 and 2017 went berserk, the Russell 2000 was chucking up to new all-time highs the entire time. And then the same thing in 2021. You can see the Russell 2K broke its high right here. That's right when the altcoin market went berserk. If we go to right now, look, they're perfectly in line. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better chart here. I could take off the VWAPs. I mean, look at that. The red line compared to the candles. I mean, they're literally perfectly in line. So, you know, the fact that even Bitcoin has went this high, this has been a Saylor and ETF bull run. So we can thank them that this has even happened, in my opinion, or else Bitcoin would probably just be chilling around 40, 50K right now. You know, that's my honest opinion. The chart would have looked a lot different. Probably would have looked something like this. And this is where we'd be right now. So, you know, that's really my best case. And I think, I forget your first question there, but what I want to say is something that has happened over the last few cycles is if you put a VWAP, I don't know off the top of my head, the first halving, I think it was it 2012? Do you know, Cade? When was the first halving? Maybe
first halving here. I can actually ask my good friend ChatGPT here. When was the first Bitcoin halving? We got an answer in 5 seconds. 5. By the way, if anyone hasn't already, please like and subscribe. And if you like Dom's stuff, go in the description down below. If you're on X, give him a follow right above our faces. The first Bitcoin halving occurred November 28th, 2022. The event reduced the block reward from 50 Bitcoin to 25.
You mean November 2012?
What did I say? Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So yeah. So what we can see here is something very interesting, actually. And people might like this one. Let me just change the template on this to blue. So if we anchor a halving, I mean, if we anchor a VWAP based on a previous halving of the cycle, historically speaking, that next bear market price does not accept below it. You can see how perfectly priced, if we put a little bit of a band on this, it'd probably reflect perfectly. I could put like a 0.2% band on that, or 0.2 standard deviation band. See how perfectly, the bear market held that, because that was the previous halving. So if we take this one off, this was the 2016 halving. And we could see prices here basically stabilized right around that area as well. And if we look at this halving right here, this is where, or sorry, I was going one too many. So let me put that one back on there. Where's the 2012? So it's actually the prior. So not that immediate bear market, because we don't have another halving. So we're looking at the next cycle. We could see how prices held that perfectly. That was basically the floor for the next cycle's bear market. And then same concept here for the 2016 halving. We could see I put a halving or a VWAP on the 2016 halving. You see that was our perfect low at our last bear market. So if that continues, which it's worked pretty well, this right here was the bottom of that 2012 halving. This right here is the bottom of that 2016 halving. So you go back one previous cycle. If we do the same thing right now, look where that's at, 38K. So technically speaking, Bitcoin should never go below 38K again in its life. And if it does, it's failed, in my opinion, because what that would be, that would be a massive deviation of its previous all-time high. We could see, we accept below that. And then more so, this level, we have never lost the previous cycle all-time high or previous cycle's VWAP. So I forget your original question there. I don't know if you asked how low, we could see.
It was basically the ETFs. Can we go below where the ETFs bought in?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That was your question. And I guess the answer to your question is, I don't think so, because look at where this is at perfectly. This perfectly matches the ETF sell-off, which is 38K. That was actually, this was one of my best trades ever. I bought the ETFs at 38.7. And it was a very, very I wasn't thinking too far in advance. I was just looking at that deviation setup, and look what this is. This is our 2020 halving VWAP. So to answer your question, no, I don't think Bitcoin should ever go below 40K again. And people might call that crazy. So if the top's in, that'd be a 65% pullback. So if we look at the difference in comparison, 77%, it kind of adds up. If the top was even in right now, see, we have an 84, then we have a 77. So right now, I'll say the top was in just for, education purposes. That's a 65% pullback. So that actually lines up perfectly, So to answer your question, I don't think Bitcoin should go below where the ETFs went live. No.
I see a question here as well from Sher. We'll get to a couple of other comments, but this one's related to this. So Dom, first halving VWAP active support for two bull markets. Second halving VWAP only once, and this bear market should be the second time.
Yeah, let me see exactly what he's trying to say there again. So I put that one back on.
Once the bear market should be the second time.
So yeah, Dom, first halving VWAP active support for two bull markets. I guess he's right there, because this entire bull market, it was above. This entire bull market, it was above as well. I guess I'm more so looking just at the bottom level. So we have 2012, and I know I'm kind of explaining this in a confusing way, but we have the 2012 first halving. Prices did not go below that on the previous, or the second bear market. We have the 2016 halving. Prices did not go below that on the second bear market. And then right here, we have the 2020 halving. Prices should not go below that in this third bear market. So it's an interesting thing. It's just something that when I, play with these VWAPs, which if anyone's listening, they really are the most powerful tool in my opinion. They're you could find so many similarities to them, and you could even see that actually acted as a bull market band. So that's one thing I actually forgot to add on here. If we put the bull market, if we put the halving VWAP on this bull market, look where it's at, 76K. So it's at the exact same level of where our entire bull market band sits. And it's at the exact level of where our previous high sits. So to sum this all up, and then we'll move on to something else. Bitcoin goes below 75K. It's gonna be very hard to create an argument that it's bullish in the short to midterm.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. We've got a couple of people here saying Octavio seems that macro is not favorable, bull market continuation at least for a few months. I think we'd be months in this range. He's thinking. Optimistic we get a reversal this week. Optimistic of a reversal. Who is Calvin here? Actually, let me share a screen for you guys. You can, if you're not on YouTube, or sorry, if you are, depending on what platform you are. Here's Dom's account. If you guys want to give him a follow on Twitter, TraderView2 is his handle. Shares lots of great stuff. He's also got a Telegram they just opened up where you can get a little bit more of his quicker thoughts and things he maybe wouldn't put on the timeline, which I think is highly something you should do. We also have Calvin, this guy I was talking about earlier, who is also killing it in the game. Calvin Waite, if you guys want to give him a follow. He comes in. These guys both come in a lot of our Twitter spaces at Wolf. We do spaces every single day. And we talk about all things going on in the markets. We actually just did one a couple hours ago. And they also do their own stuff. Like Dom, you were in a space with a couple of huge traders like Trader Main, who is pretty big. And I believe Crypto Face was on one. Dude, this guy's his pictures are hilarious that he posts. You ever follow the things he posts, like people making like they stick his face and they like blend it with other people all the time.
Yeah,
dude, the guy's hilarious.
Absolutely
hilarious. But anyways, yeah.
People get bored.
Oh man, yeah, that's who Calvin is, and Dom's account as well. Let's see. So, here's one. Can you expand on the idea of the 4-year cycle? I mean, that's sort of, if you look at all the last few streams, that's kind of the thesis we've been rolling with.
Yeah.
I still think it's possible that within the 4-year cycle, we just get a bunch of crazy deviations, and then maybe because human psychology, we end up following it anyway. But honestly, the longer we are in this market, the less and less I'm believing that.
Yeah, it's a hard one to say. It's to answer the question of the macro is not favorable. It's definitely not a wrong thing to say. This is the federal funds rate. The entire 2017 bull market happened with the rates below 2%. Same thing here with the 2013 bull market, rates were at 0. Same thing here with the 2021 bull market, rates were at 0. Look where rates are now. This entire bull market, rates basically were above 4%. Never seen before. Never once seen before. And then at the same time, we talked about this the last few streams. We put up the money supply on here. And similar concept. Money supply was in expansive mode, all of these bull markets. Money supply went ballistic in 2021. And then look at now. The money supply is actually lower. It's actually at the exact point of when this bull market started. So that's really my main thesis too, as to why this 4-year cycle might be over, is because if these things start turning around, if rates go back down to 0, if the Russell 2000 breaks into price discovery and they start printing money again, we have favorable macro conditions for Bitcoin to continue to go up. And to me, that might alone break the 4-year cycle theory. Bitcoin might just be now in this very steady uptrend, and I'm sure you remember one of the charts I looked at. I can't pull it up here on TradingView, but it looks at the percentage above the 200-week moving average, and it gives a color, and it shows that this entire bull market is at the pace of this right here. So this pace right here is the exact pace. So the way we've been growing has been very healthy. It hasn't been this parabolic straight up, what is this, 800% or 600% move, from the low. Within a year, we went up 1,500%. Here it's been almost 2.5 years or what? 2.5 years, we've only went up 600%. So this is a lot more stable uptrend. And the fact that we have favorable or unfavorable macro conditions makes me believe, we put the DXY on here as well, makes me believe that this 4-year cycle might be broke because, look at this bull market. This is DXY, downtrending the entire bull market. Look at this bull market, DXY, downtrending the entire bull market. Look at this bull market. DXY is higher. DXY went up. So we're actually going against the grain here. We're going against the, money supply. We're going against the Federal Reserve rate. We're going against the dollar basically pricing higher. So if all of these things switch up the way that they did actually when the last bull market started, I think Bitcoin is just going to continue to chuck higher with these multi-month consolidations in between.
Yeah. And for people who are not really looking at the news so much, there is something also coming in the next couple days. On Friday, a crypto summit of sorts that people are looking forward to. And hopefully getting some clarity on how they're going to be. And we talked about this in the space, like how the U.S. might are they going to buy Cardano like spot? Or are they going to just buy it at the normal prices? Are they going to try and press the price down and get entry prices? Are they even going to bother starting at the summit? Is it going to be something that starts in a year? I've been here long enough to know that they can indefinitely kick the can down the road, and that can be years even that they do that. And we'll see what happens in regards to how they end up picking up these tokens. Dom, I think it was either right before the stream or maybe it was in the space you mentioned some of the different ways you could see them averaging into some of these coins like Cardano, like XRP, like Solana, maybe even looking at their Bitcoin stack and saying, should we diversify?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. That's something I have not mentioned yet. It's an interesting point because we know that the government has 200,000 Bitcoin, right? So there's the Bitcoin. The XRP would make sense if Ripple settles their lawsuit with XRP, and that establishes the reserve. If they pay their fine in XRP, we're talking $150 million in XRP. There you go. They have that. The rest of them don't make sense to me. How are they going to get their Cardano? How are they going to get their Sol? How are they going to get their Ethereum? Are they going to, I guess some more theories. Maybe the Sol unlock. Maybe they're going to buy the Sol unlock. These are just random theories. Sol just unlocked, 2% of the supply. Maybe they're working behind the scenes with FTX to get that OTC. Maybe the Ethereum, they're working with North Korea to buy their hacked Bybit Ethereum. And then the only one left is Cardano. Where are they going to get their Cardano? So, I mean, this is a super interesting thing to me. And I know, people move so fast in this stuff, but I would have expected a lot more talk about this. Like, this is really, like, what's going to happen on Friday is going to be very telling. Like, the way that they plan to do this, I don't know. It's going to be super telling. And that's why I pulled up this David Sachs tweet. Somebody said taxation is theft. It should be kept to a minimum. It's wrong to steal my money for grift on the left. It's also wrong to tax me for crypto bro schemes. Look at what David Sachs replied. He said, nobody announced a tax or a spending program. Maybe you should wait to find out what's actually being proposed. That really brings up some questions here. Like, what does he mean by that? Should we wait to see what's being proposed? If they're not going to buy the coins, how are they going to get them? Like I said, the Bitcoin, they already have. The XRP, it really makes sense. The SEC has dropped every single case besides the Ripple case. And that's the last one pending. And they still have a pending fine of $150 million. That could establish the XRP reserve. The rest of them, I have no idea. And I think that's why I've repeated this now multiple times since Sunday. What we're going to learn on Friday is going to be very telling. Very, very telling. I think hopefully it's live streamed. Hopefully you guys are, I'll be sitting right next to my news feed waiting for news, if we can't get it live streamed. But this is going to be big. Whatever they propose here, whatever they say, I mean, this is going to be huge because if they come out and say we'll be buying it, the question is how? How are they going to be buying it? And let me pull up this thing here. I actually sent in my Telegram. If you guys aren't on my Telegram, definitely check that out. I've actually shared like 3 or 4 trades in there that I didn't share on X that played out perfectly.
Let me get it. Let me pull it up. So if you're on X, I'm going to share the link in the comments below. If you're on YouTube, I'm going to share it in the YouTube comments. And you can find it in the description. I believe it's in your link tree, right?
It is, yeah.
Okay, I'll share the link in for you guys if you guys want to check it out. I highly recommend it.
So I was interesting. I went and worked with ChatGPT a little bit, had it do some research. And I basically said, how can this reserve be created without Congress? And its answer was interesting. It said that the administration could issue an EO directing the Treasury or Federal Reserve to acquire them through the Exchange Stabilization Fund or repurpose seized crypto assets, which obviously we think that that's definitely going to happen. So that's one piece. Said the Federal Reserve or Treasury can add these assets to U.S. Reserve via FX operations. That's one way it can happen. They could also frame crypto as a national security asset and I guess use the Department of Defense budgets to buy these. And once again, this is just some random ways that this can happen without Congress, because for all of you guys watching, if this is proposed through Congress, there is no shot that's going to get approved. There's no way we're going to have Congress majority approve for them to buy crypto. I don't see a world that that's going to happen unless it's like tucked into a bill that the Democrats love. Maybe it's a little line in the bill that the Democrats love, maybe. But if this is just a straight out bill, this is going to be dead on arrival. So that's why I started doing my research. Like, how can Trump do this without Congress? And, the other thing, it says a government-backed private sector initiative can encourage banks and institutions to hold reserves with FDIC liquidity support, reclassifying those coins as commodities. And the other thing, it says they could accumulate them through IMF reserves, central bank FX swaps, or strategic partnerships. I don't understand all of these reasons, but these are just some of them I thought I'd throw up there because I'm like, okay, how can this happen without Congress? Because that's really the main question I think all of us should be asking. Like, is this just bogus? Are they just saying this? Because if so, we're in for a big fall. But if not, I don't think so. I don't think Trump would just say this and not have a plan. The way that they're going to do this is going to be very telling. Very, very telling. And people ask, like, why'd they pick XRP, Sol, and ADA? Well, honestly, if you don't think too far into it, those are the top 5 cryptos minus exchange tokens in Tether and USDC. So, it's not completely abnormal, but still, they're going to have some explaining to do. And one other thing that might be, and this is all just pure speculation here, guys. One other thing that could be happening here, which I think would be huge, is if on Friday they talk about how these coins are going to be, these coins were picked for utility purposes. That would be crazy. That would be something crazy, in my opinion. They might say, okay, Bitcoin, we picked that because it's digital gold. Ethereum, we picked that because it's going to house, this tokenization thing on the blockchain. Solana, we picked that because it's going to track government spending for Doge. XRP, we picked that because it's going to be a liquidity provider or a cross-border payment, a mechanism. And then they say, we picked Cardano because it's going to be that. If that's the case, we might be looking at the biggest shift we've ever seen in crypto. If the government comes out and saying, we're picking these assets because we're going to be using them for utility purposes, that is going to forever change the crypto sphere as we know it. And I think that's why, I think Friday is going to be huge. I mean, this could be one of the most pivotal days we've ever seen in the crypto space ever in its entire history.
Wow. Yeah, dude. Yeah, because the other thing is that's where they're going to drop that information. It's going to be right there. And so if we don't get kind of what we're looking for, we don't get any of that clarity. I don't know what else we could kick the can down the road to. I think the next thing would just be like Jerome Powell, I guess. But there's not really anything unless they were to say, like, I don't know. It feels like this government has been excellent at cliffhangers, like in a TV show.
Totally.
Just giving us enough, but not really any information. And now we're sitting here going, I guess the next one we might get some. But this one feels a little bit more heavy because there's a lot of updates that have come out recently. And there's not a lot of upcoming catalysts after this. I know we were thinking that it was going to be the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, but they basically just dimmed that announcement so much by basically saying XRP, Solana, ADA, and on the side, maybe some Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Let's talk about that, actually. That's why I pulled this up. I'd love to hear everybody watching. Please throw your thoughts in the comments. Would love to hear what everyone else is thinking. Why in the world would Trump come out and say that they're moving forward on this crypto strategic reserve and only mention XRP, Sol, and Cardano? Why would he do that? That to me is absolutely bizarre. Like, you would think no matter what, the first thing he would say is Bitcoin. Ethereum aside, whatever, Ethereum, throw it in the trash. But Bitcoin, you would think, and once again, I'm nowhere near a Bitcoin maxi, but it just makes sense. Bitcoin's $1 trillion asset. Why would he come out and only say these 3 altcoins? I mean, that to me is like, that's why there's more to the story. And that's why, once again, I'm going to say, when we figure out the thoughts behind this, it's going to be huge because To me, the only thing that makes sense is he's America first. And we know that all three of those coins are America stationed, were created in America. And, maybe that's all he's about. And for him to come out after and say, and obviously, like that is, to me, that's Michael Saylor called him and said, Trump, I'm down I'm down $3 billion in my Bitcoin this week. Please mention Bitcoin. And then he's like, oh, okay. I'll come out and say, and obviously. That is bizarre. Like, that is absolutely bizarre to me. And I still can't get over that. Like, honestly, to me, that is very, very interesting. And I don't know. It really doesn't make sense to me because just the way he worded it too,
Yeah, it was weird.
And obviously, and then he says, as other valuable currencies, I also love them. Like he was putting those secondary. Yeah. So it's like, who is behind this calling the shots that these three were the primary? To me, that's crazy. XRP, I'm sorry, but I get it. Ripple is been tied up with the government. Sol, I kind of get it. He launches Beamcoin. Cardano, I don't get it. I do not get Cardano. And it's not that I don't like it. I just think it's, nobody taught, like, I don't know. The Cardano thing doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, I don't know, guys. It's just crazy. For someone like me that, has watched the space grow week by week for the past 8 years, this to me is bizarre. I cannot believe that he came out and didn't mention Bitcoin for an hour and a half later. I mean, what do you think, Cade? You're a lot more in the Bitcoin maxi community than I am. So, like, what's the consensus? What do people think?
I don't know if it's so much Saylor calling and saying my bags are down, but he did get a lot of donations specifically from Bitcoiners, and I don't know if it was Saylor calling or if it was just his brain saying, "Oh wait, we probably should mention Bitcoin," or just one of his advisors. But I do think, like when he came to Bitcoin Nashville, he gave a whole speech, and he clearly did not understand Bitcoin. I think the only thing he did understand about the industry itself was probably the Bitcoin miners and bringing that attention and bringing that business and keeping it in the United States. I don't think he really understood the concept of Bitcoin, why people hold it, why the movement even started. I just don't think he looks at it any differently than Ethereum or Cardano or Solana. I think they're all in the same bucket. And because when he was speaking, I remember being beyond underwhelmed. I was like, bro, this guy literally doesn't get it. And we're all just trying. And I remember because after all the announcements from all like the big Bitcoin accounts saying, oh my God, Trump said this, Trump said that. I was like, bro, I was there. It was not like that. It was very, very lame. It was beyond lame. We were all sitting there and I was with a couple of my friends. We were there with the team, but a few of my friends were watching with me and just like staring at the chart of Bitcoin and they were just shaking their head like, dude, this could not have gone any worse. So I think that's the main problem is like, I don't think he understands there's a difference between Bitcoin and the rest of crypto, but also, and you kind of have to because Bitcoin's leading the way because of its uniqueness. And then crypto gets to tag along. And then we've got this beautiful blockchain technology that follows suit. But, there's all these cryptocurrencies that are on top of it, which is, part of the fun here in crypto land. But I don't know, like it's tough to see crypto exist without Bitcoin is the thing. I don't think that's a world that exists, at least not the coins. The tech, I think, could work. The tech will work, and I think is the next level for normal technology, and probably will replace a lot of the systems we have now. But the cryptocurrency, these tokens, I mean, to mention Cardano, XRP, and Sol, that felt so bizarre. And I was like, I don't know who's whispering in his ear that was a good idea, but that was dumb, dude. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, well, it's very interesting because I made this video last month or a month and a half ago. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Let me try to play it real quick.
Play it. You may have to. All right, go ahead and click play.
Tell me if you could hear it.
I can't, but if you're okay, so the way you show sound on these is if you go to present and then you go to share screen. If you go to Chrome tab instead of window or entire screen, Dom, it'll say as an option at the bottom, also share tab audio. Make sure that's toggled on, and then we should be able to hear it.
All right, let me give that a quick try. Just because it's good. It's exactly what you're talking about here, and why it makes me think there's more to this than we don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm seeing some comments here. We'll address these here in a second. Saying Saylor has no business being in the summit. He's just an investor. We agree that Sunday's move was pumping up. We'll get to those here in a second, but let's see if we can hear this.
I'll just play the whole thing.
Okay.
Your hands off crypto. They're going to let it grow. We're going to let it grow. On day one, I will fire Gary Gensler and appoint a new SEC chairman. Upon taking office, I will immediately appoint a Bitcoin and crypto presidential advisory council. Their task will be to design transparent regulatory guidance for the benefit of the entire industry, and they will get it done in 100 days. We will have regulations, but from now on, the rules will be written by people who love your industry, not hate your industry. They want to move the creation of a central bank digital currency. It's over. Forget it. CBDC. There will never be a CBDC while I'm president of the United States. And I will always defend the right to self-custody. Self-custody. We will create a framework to enable the safe, responsible expansion of stable coins, and Bitcoin and crypto will skyrocket like never before, even beyond your expectations. To keep 100% of all the Bitcoin the U.S. government currently holds or acquires into the future. We'll keep 100%. This will serve in effect as the core of the strategic national Bitcoin stockpile. Their hands off crypto.
So yeah, as we can hear there, you know, what changed? What changed is a Bitcoin national stockpile was replaced with digital asset stockpile. And then here we are on Sunday. He didn't even say Bitcoin. You know, all he said was these altcoins. So what changed? That's the question we got to be asking. What changed? And to be honest, I don't think this is him. He's got way too much going on. There's not a possibility, in my opinion, he made this decision. It's got to be David Sachs. It's got to be David Sachs. That's been the one that's been, you know, pointing the cards here. So, you know, to me, that's super interesting. It's really, really interesting. And I don't know what to think about it besides him forgetting to say Bitcoin and mentioning these coins. I think Friday we're going to understand why. And why I say it's interesting is because there might be more to this. There might be, and this is once again pure speculation. They might have actual uses that they're going to be using each of these blockchains for. And I know it's crazy to say, but that would explain why he came out and first said this. You know, that's really the only thing that makes sense to me. And otherwise, Ethereum is technically Russian made, and then Bitcoin we don't know. So that's really the only other explanation is he's all America first, and he wanted to mention the American cryptos first. So yeah, man, I don't know. I definitely wanted to play that though, because, you know, that was, I don't know, that was interesting to me. Everything was perfectly in line besides the Bitcoin reserve. That changed into a digital asset reserve. And then on Sunday, that changed into an altcoin reserve until an hour later. So that's just bizarre. I don't think anyone could disagree. That is absolutely bizarre. And we're at the forefront of something very interesting here.
Yeah, man. That was pretty funny. Getting to re-watch what that was.
Yeah, it was great. I'd love to make that because I was like, wow. But hey, he was a man of his word. He's done it all besides the Bitcoin being the main reserve.
And there's still people saying who are closely either working with, like I saw Hunter Horsley, a few other people either working with, directly with, or just in the conversation of saying Bitcoin Strategic Reserve still may happen as a separate thing from the crypto assets reserve, which would be pretty interesting. But at this point, I don't think the news is going to do anything in terms of ripping us to all-time highs just because that announcement. It just feels like they kind of DOA'd that one a little bit here. But
yeah, totally. I saw some let's cover some of these comments here.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. The man is managing how many different things right now, and to make that announcement in the middle of the Zelensky fall, it could have been a mistake. I disagree because he's not making his tweets. I don't know if you guys have seen, but he sits there and tells his whatever communications person what to say. So I don't think it was a mistake to leave out Bitcoin and Ethereum. How do you make that mistake? That's not a mistake in my opinion. And I think we're going to figure out why. He said Saylor has no business being in the summit. He's an investor. Saylor's not an investor. He's a madman.
That's pretty funny. Sunday's move was a pump and dump.
Yeah. And, for anyone curious what happened there, you guys will like this one. So what happened there was, let's go to the order books here real quick. For any of you guys in my Telegram, sure you guys saw what I made that post about. Let's adjust these a bit. Okay. So Saturday night, I made a post and I basically said the order book, at least on XRP, I'm like, this is as thin as can be. I'm like, I haven't seen an order book this thin in a long time. And you guys can see, you see how this is just air? There's no lines there. Last time we had an air order book was right here. We saw what happened. So I made that post and I basically said, if bulls step up in any meaningful manner right now, they could send this thing right back to, 270, 280, 290. So it's exactly what happened. And of course, where do we stop? We stopped right when it started hitting orders. So to answer your question, there was a pump and dump. What it was a mass amount of market buying on an illiquid Sunday. That's why prices moved way more than they should have. It's because there were no sell orders. The books were so thin. And then them dumping back down, that's because the stock market tanked on Monday. So I agree, it was a pump and dump, but I don't think it was like more of a directly planned, manipulated pump and dump. I think it was just that's how the cards played at that moment, that we had such a thin book that prices were able to move up so fast on Sunday. And then on the way down, we had such hard selling pressure from the stock market. Prices were going to retrace the entire dump or the entire pump. So that's kind of my answer to what you said there. He said, if he doesn't have crypto, which I agree, what do we have to look after for a clear vision on what the administration tends with crypto? It's a great question. And I think what it is exactly what I was talking about, is if they have a plan for like utility of these coins, like Friday is going to really tell us how the government is viewing crypto. If they're just viewing crypto as this little casino where you can make money, we're going to see that. But if they're viewing crypto as revolutionary technologies and they picked those 3 blockchains for a use for, maybe tracking treasury payments, maybe tracking what Doge does, maybe tracking all the government spending, that's going to be huge. And that's going to change the face of crypto forever. And I know it's utility's a meme, but I think we're getting to that point, guys. The speculation run can't last forever. We can't have thousands of cryptos that do nothing. We just can't. Yeah. I don't think it's going to last. It's not going to last much longer. And this might be the shift of it. So it's
what's another quick side comment? I went to ETH Denver this past week. And of course, the week that literally everything happens, I'm running those spaces. But if you were following Dom on Twitter, you would have gotten 1 Market Talk space, or maybe 2, where he jumped in other people's spaces. But everything happened. But at the conference, there's a lot.
Cade? Looks like Cade might have rugged us here. 1 second here, guys. Can you guys still hear me? Let me know in the comments.
All right, are we back, guys? Can you hear / see me?
You're back, Cade. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was our Wi-Fi has been cutting out. Puerto Rico has been slightly just about as reliable as the crypto markets for the weather and for Wi-Fi. But so what I was saying was we were at ETH Denver. Of course, everything was happening and we missed everything. But in terms of after the event, a lot of negative sentiment, albeit half the people who were talking about it didn't even go to the conference. So I'm not sure where they were getting that from. But in terms of people saying there was a lot of grifting that they felt, and it felt like a lot of the companies were just there to speak to business people and to lock in VC deals. They didn't really give a rip about retail, didn't really give a rip about talking to people and connecting. They felt like the vibes has shifted slightly. Now, it didn't affect me because at Wolf, we are in marketing and social media. For me, I've always been doing content. So for me, nothing felt any different. But I imagine if you're a retail participant and you're just there to vibe, those vibes have seemed like it changed a little bit. kind of just telling on just the broader crypto world in general. And, people saying, some people, even at these levels of Bitcoin at the highest they've pretty much ever been, say, I'm kind of bored, I don't want to be here anymore. And so that has been pretty fascinating to watch. A pro crypto president, prices, right now, not the best, but, just a week ago, 100K, 90K, 80K, whatever. And the rest of altcoins down in the dumps. It's a pretty crazy time to be alive. So I get why there's so much just back and forth and looking for clarity, looking for stability in a market like this. And we had a few months there where it was just meme coin galore, people getting rug pulled left and right. And it took literal presidents of countries to get people to say, hold on, what are we doing here? And so I feel you here, Octavio. I feel you here heavy.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a good thought. I completely agree with you. And I think that we're in the most pivotal week I've seen in just a long time. I really think so, that this is going to really shape I think the future of crypto. What they say on Friday could really be a shift that we could look back and maybe clip what I'm saying exactly right now in a year and being like, wow, everything after that was looked at differently. So that's why I'm excited. That's why I'm just super curious what's happening. But yeah, let's cover the rest of these comments here. So these coins could be added to reserve if government received those as donation. It's a good thought, but who's going to donate a bunch of Ethereum? Like, who's going to donate, hundreds of millions of dollars of Ethereum? Who's going to donate, all that of Cardano? Who's going to do that for Sol? To think that everyone's just going to donate to the government. Who donates to the government? They printed $20 trillion or $5 trillion in 2020. You think we're going to donate to the government? So I'm
going to be donating 30% of my income to the government. I know.
Yeah. Beyond that, I don't know who's going to be donating a substantial sum of those cryptos. But yeah, next question there was it would make sense, but it still doesn't make sense to leave out Bitcoin, guys. There is something there, and it's pretty crazy. If you pay attention to him, he has always been pro-America. Yeah, 100%. Friday will be the litmus. Yep, you're absolutely there.
They should force Satoshi to come out before they allow it. If he's alive, I've heard some pretty. I don't know if Don, if you've been down the rabbit hole. I've seen actually Jack Dorsey most recently has gone under speculation for being Satoshi because a lot of interesting confluence on certain people who are at certain places in the world during certain times that Bitcoin came out. Did the Jack Dorsey one? I think that's his name, Jack Dorsey, the founder.
I think we lost you there again, Cade. On to Cade's point, though, I think it's interesting whoever Satoshi is. And I actually did a big rabbit hole deep dive back in 2020. And all of my thoughts came to, there's a good chance that David Schwartz is actually Satoshi. David Schwartz of XRP Ripple. Pretty crazy to think about, but I have a lot of evidence. I don't think I'll ever post it though, because I don't want to make a stir, but it's a pretty interesting thought that I would believe that Satoshi is lingering around, or at least at least the group of Satoshi, whoever that may be. That's really my thought. Kate, are you back there?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on right now. I don't know what the last thing you heard. I heard you saying something about Jack Dorsey, but I'm not sure what you heard last from me.
No, I was just saying that. I heard what you said about Jack Dorsey. I was saying that I actually went in the rabbit hole in 2020, and I went on a very deep rabbit hole, and I actually shared this with a lot of my private audiences back then. My best case of who was in the group of Satoshi is actually David Schwartz. David Schwartz is the co-founder he was the co-creator of the XRP Ledger, and there is mounting evidence that he was part of the Satoshi group. And I know it's all speculation, but it's something interesting to think about. That I think Satoshi is definitely still lingering around without a doubt.
Wow. Yeah, there's a few people that were involved. The Jack Dorsey one was interesting only because there was like his mother's birthday, his dad's birthday lined up with like the first 2 Bitcoin transactions ever of people just giving Bitcoin away. I don't actually think it was Jack, but there's a few people, like
Yeah.
you said, in that Satoshi group who are all kind of all together coding and working together, sending transactions back and forth, testing things and stuff like that. It's a pretty
Well-
fascinating thing to
well,
dive.
It totally is. We know for sure Hal Finney was part of it. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he was.
Hal
Yep.
Finney, he received the first Bitcoin transaction, so he definitely knew who Satoshi was. And the most eerie part about that is he's actually frozen in a cryotherapy system right now in Phoenix, Arizona. And their whole goal is to be able to revive these people at some point when the technology's out. So if he really is, he's frozen right now, and I think a cryo chamber in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, that's an interesting rabbit hole as well. But yeah, let's continue.
How many is frozen? I did not know that. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, he is
all right,
frozen.
let's see.
Fair
He's
point.
frozen just like I am on the stream.
Literally. Said XRP trying to regain its weekly VWAP ban. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, XRP is a little bit get a little pump right here. We'll see what happens. He said makes me laugh when people cringe at the thought of XRP. It makes me laugh too, because look what I posted right before the stream started.
Wow.
Pretty interesting stuff there.
Jeez.
Yeah, definitely super interesting stuff there. So yeah, but like I'm not like this XRP lover. I've obviously liked it for a long time, but if you're not paying attention to XRP right now with the way the chart looks, you're probably going to get left behind, or not even left behind. It's who knows? It might go to $1 after this, but at least being in the space, you need to pay attention to the outperformers. And XRP has been a consistent outperformer. Brad Garlinghouse is probably going to be there on Friday, and it's part of the reserve. So it's one other thing we wanted to mention here. I think, as a trader, you should be really focusing on XRP, Sol, and Cardano the next few weeks. Those should present some really good trading opportunities. And if this reserve goes through and they actually have a plan to get these assets, you're going to really want to be involved in those assets. I can't imagine a point where those underperform at least.
Yeah, and something that Domin said a while back for people who are just getting back into the game for trading or are just wanting to level up, paying attention to anywhere from 1 to 3 charts, just price action wise. I've mainly just focused on Bitcoin, just purely from a time saver perspective. But you're right, like there are a couple coins here that are probably worth an extra look at, more so than some of the other coins, just purely because they've performed. And
Totally.
I kind of liken it to like the horse race. Like, why would you jump off a fast horse in the middle of your race to jump on a slower horse because they might pick up later on? It just it doesn't really make any sense. Like, they're so far behind, you might as well just stay on the horse that's winning. Like, it makes such little sense to jump on another one. You never know what can happen. Like those, Cardano just being on this reserve was so random. And like, I saw Trader Main's tweet. He was like, bro, I've been I'm grateful that crypto was on this reserve thing and it ended up happening. But literally, he listed all 3 tokens that I've told all my friends to stay away from for the past couple of years. I thought that's so funny.
That's why it's funny, because CT is an echo chamber, and people don't realize what the outsiders like. And I've said this now forever. Why everybody that's not in crypto asks me about XRP? Why is what that's what they're drawn to? And it's like, if we ignore that, you'll probably miss out on something. And is this why the Bitcoin maxi tiers are raining down? It's because of this chart right here.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
brutal, dude. What a chart. That's pretty funny. Yeah, that'll definitely piss some people off. Oh my god, dude. 10,000 impressions in an hour. Yeah.
People like that one.
That's funny.
People really
we got
like
a few minutes left in this stream. So drop your final questions, guys. If you have any things you want to take a look at or discuss. Do you think Doge will make its way into the reserve? We kind of talked about it a little bit, but
yeah, I don't think so, because then that's going to be a laughing stock for the entire US. It's like you're trying to create this reserve, and you have technical reasons to include all those assets. Whether I agree or not, I think Sol has a great use case. I think XRP is a great use case. I think even Ethereum it's shown itself. Bitcoin has shown itself. Cardano, though, I don't know the use case for Cardano. But to your point, those actually have a potential use case. Those have potential utility. Doge, it doesn't. So it's like, if they're planning to pitch these as something they'll use, that's maybe why Doge isn't included, because it's complete meme.
As an asset for sure. Because people have said that there's a use case for Dogecoin, but the thing is, it's infinite supply. And of the supply, I'm pretty sure it's come out that like Robinhood owns like 70%, or some like single entity owns like 70% of the tokens. Am I wrong about that? You heard of this?
No, I have not actually.
I remember in the last cycle there. I mean, it's possible that was part of the FUD when Robinhood like froze people's accounts and stuff like that.
Sure.
People were making crazy gains, but I remember seeing somewhere that Robinhood or someone owns just like an enormous amount of the tokens, but you can endlessly print them. And so I think that's what people were worried about for the price action of Dogecoin and whether or not it'll ever get to $1. But anyways, here's another question here from DC3P. Do you think, hope you're still making a trading course. Would love to attend. Is that something you're doing? Yeah,
I am. I have not started on it yet. There's been too much happening in this market. I'm hoping for like a slow few weeks so I can get going on that. But yeah, I plan to create basically a course that encapsulates everything I've learned over the last 8 years. And it's probably going to take me, it's going to take me hundreds of hours to make, and it'll probably be 50 plus hours. But that's many months away, but definitely, keep in line. I'm sure I'll share more details when that time comes.
Dude, that is going to be epic. Whatever you're putting a price tag on that for, that will be worth it, I think, especially after the hours of free stuff you put out there. Even if people can't get into that, there's plenty of free things as well. But there's something to be said about these condensed courses that are actually there in one spot. You can follow them, video by video. I know there's things on YouTube, but honestly, dude, if you find people you trust and and you follow and you like the way that they trade, and you even have an affinity toward it, or you naturally pick up some of those things, I think there's something wrong with this course. I think they're pretty cool.
Absolutely. The thing is I hear that all the time. It's like, you can learn that for free. Go ahead and learn it for free. What my intention is I've spent 10,000 plus hours learning what matters and what doesn't. And I'm going to condense all of that into what matters and what I've learned. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll continue to share stuff, but the reason why I'm doing this is because I've had 50 plus people ask for it. And if the people want it, I don't see why I shouldn't do it. And of course, anything I'll put out will be the utmost value. So we'll see when that time comes. But it'll happen. The last few questions here. What's the resistance band for XRP? It's about 255. That's really the important level to be watched, about 255.
Very nice.
I just want to throw in a random comment. I feel in the terms of crypto narrative being now on the side of the government is kind of weird. Crypto needs to reveal its true value. He's absolutely right. He's, once again, Tavio absolutely right is if the government's getting involved in crypto, it's no longer going to be this speculative gambling casino. It's going to be for a reason. And that's why I continue to say on Friday, we might see the first taste of what that reason is. And that's why I couldn't be more excited to see. Dom, do you do any charting classes? I do not, besides my weekly streams.
Very nice.
Yeah, besides my live Dom's Market.
Yeah, Dom's Market's flow. Definitely recommend you check those out. And by the way, he's great at answering questions. If you have specific questions in these streams or in his Market Flow ones, he usually gets to all the comments, which is super nice because that is not what usually happens in crypto YouTuber land. It's just them yelling at the camera to buy things that they've already bought.
Totally.
Donate some.
Government hold.
Yeah, I don't know.
They could, but once again, guys, I don't see the donation thing. I don't see that happening. Maybe for Bitcoin we already have it, but the rest of them I just don't see them donating it. It doesn't.
Yeah. It has one of the most dev activity. Yeah, and Charles Hoskinson's involved with Trump since a while. I don't know about that. That might be true. I know he's big in the crypto world in general. He has a cult following. Charles Hoskinson, the founder of Cardano. That maybe. Yeah, that was a strange one. I'm really hoping they give some kind of light. It's probably the one I'm most interested in as to why he added into it, because I can't think of it for the life of me.
No. I mean, even if it does have the most dev activity, what is it doing? I hate to say it, but who's using it? What is it doing? I might be completely misinformed, but I don't see it doing things and having transaction volumes that Sol does, or even.
Let me see what ChatGPT has to say. Let's see if ChatGPT has an answer, or if it can come up with what could possibly be the reason Cardano. And guys, throw in your last questions here. We're going to wrap here in a minute, but what could possibly be the reason Cardano was added to the new crypto reserve?
I'll be on the lookout for when you do.
Smart
Absolutely.
contracts for ADA, as someone said, it's supposed to be the best smart contracts. Yeah, I guess that could be one of the reasons.
Totally.
Let's see. Scalability, yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of cryptos are good at scaling. Cardano's US-based origins, that could be another. Yeah, I guess it could be another reason. It could be a variety of things. Their modest market cap, they say, is another option. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like ChatGPT has been grasping for straws here at this point. By the way, Bitcoin's pumping right now. Did you see that?
Are we sending it to the moon?
Well, we're up 3% in the last hour. Not terrible. It's pretty big. In the last day or so, we touched. What did we touch? We touched at the lowest, like 81 or something, 82. Back up to 88 right now. 88.3.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's
Jeez.
a pretty good pump there.
You're welcome, guys. That was me and Dom. We were buying secretly on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I guess, we're gonna see. I mean, ADA, sure, it might. It definitely might, but
AI agents?
I don't.
Is AI agents a thing on Cardano? What's up, Janix? It's great to see you in here, by the way. Shout out one of my most OG supporters from like literally 2020, 2021 NFT days. Shout out to you, Janix. Charles is supposed to be producing L2s from XRP to the XRP ecosystem. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay.
ADA is
okay. Yeah. Interesting. Smart contracts. Yeah, I've heard of this actually. I've heard of this in the last cycle, I remember.
I love how we're getting pitched by the Cardano community.
Cardano is also the other UTX of it. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, though, from the last crypto, like
Kate, did you rug again?
let me know if I'm back.
Yeah, I think you're back now. Well, yeah, either way, I guess I guess we'll see. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I guess we'll see about Cardano. I guess the last thing I'll end with, I think you commented on this. My story time about what happened with me and Cardano.
Wait, which one?
Just how
yeah.
in 2017, when I was new to this, one of my mentors, actually, they told me about this listing and then they went on vacation. So they just left me to think that I should buy it right when it came out. So it came out 4 p.m. Eastern time, seconds going live. I bought the wick. I was down 60% in minutes. And sure enough, 60x later, 3 months later, I would have held. It would have been a 60x on Cardano. So I have a love-hate relationship with it. And it's pretty interesting how I'd probably say I was probably one of the first 500 people to publicly buy Cardano. And here it is today in a reserve. So we'll see. Hopefully it does end up doing something. Hopefully it does provide something to, whatever. But either way, I think that Friday is going to be crazy. And I think that the final thoughts here is you should be watching these coins. You should be seeing what happens up until then. We should be monitoring the reaction after we get more news on Friday. And we could be in a very, very, pivotal moment in the crypto space, in my opinion. Very pivotal. Cade, you still there? Looks like we lost Cade again here, guys. Thanks for joining, everybody. Hope you guys, found it entertaining or learned a few things. Wasn't really a specific stream here. A lot going on. Just wanted to share some thoughts about basically this reserve, because to me, probably one of the most important things we've seen in a long time regarding crypto. And, I'm not this, I'm not this big news trader, but when you see something that big, it's definitely not something to shrug off. We need to really dissect it and see how this impacts the entire market. So yeah, thanks again, guys. Kate, you back?
Yeah, I am back. It was just loading forever. It was back, so I was here. I was able to hear a lot of that. Anyways, for HBAR, I don't know why HBAR wouldn't. I mean, it was one of the top performers.
Probably just market. It's not in the top 10.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, they have been killing it though. On the chart. I'm not sure about them the last couple days, but yeah, man. Look, I don't know what's going on with my internet. This is the worst it's ever been, actually, since my time here. But either way, maybe I've been secretly buying on the side. That's really what's been going on. We'll see what happens on Friday, dude. I'm not so sure it's going to be epic. I feel like it could be. I'm not sure. I'm hoping it's great. But
the only way it's epic is if they're coming out with a clear plan to do this, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I feel like there will be plenty of ifs, ands, or buts. That's my personal take on it. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. Do you know what time it's at, actually?
No, I don't. I have actually zero idea.
Let me see if they have established a time before we hop off. Crypto Summit. Is it hold on, just real quick. I don't know any details about it. I just know it's a summit. Is it a speech? It's going to be 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern live.
Oh, wow.
So it's all day. So I don't know what this is going to be like. I need to do some. If you guys have any thoughts, just maybe comment it on Twitter because we're going to hop off here. But if you guys have any thoughts or know any information about what it'll look like I don't know if it's going to be a talk, a keynote, like a bunch of people on a table. Like I'm not sure what to expect here.
Yeah, maybe it's going to be them all gathering on their computers and like tweeting stuff and like 100x longing and shorting.
We'll see what happens. Oh boy, we got some XRP maxis in here now.
Oh
boy.
yeah,
here we go. They found us.
$25 incoming.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. Market here. That's funny. Dom, is there any final thoughts you have or anything you want to let people know of before we wrap?
No, not really. I just think, my final thoughts are what's going to happen on Friday, and the market reaction is going to be very telling. And it's going to tell us whether, we're in good shape for a new run the next 2 months, 3 months, or it's going to tell us that we're in bad shape for lower prices over the next few months. I could be wrong, but to me, it just makes sense. The chart's telling us we need something. And if the market doesn't care about what happens on Friday and the stock market can't, stabilize itself, I think that we need to be prepared for lower prices. So my final thoughts, there's not much to say until the post-mortem of Friday. Cade, lost you again. Well, thanks again, guys, for joining. Too bad we had some connection issues, but I'll see you guys on X. See you guys in the Telegram channel. Probably be doing my own stream. I'll probably be doing a stream either on Thursday or Friday. So my own stream. So definitely keep an eye out for that. And, we'll see what happens here with the market. I guess good to see a little bit of a revival, but we still have some long ways to go to see what happens here over the next, next few days at least. So thanks again, guys.
Unbelievably brutal. Have an amazing day, everybody. Hope everyone can hear me. We'll see you all in the next one. I'm going to close it off before it shuts me out again.